The going live face. Ooh, hello.
Now live.
Hello. Are we in the right place? You've got it open, Em, haven't you?
Yeah, let's just check. Yes, we're live and in the right place, and I'm pulling a face.
Excellent.
All good.
All normal then for my page.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I hope there are some people who've come in from the gorgeous sunshine to join us today and listen to what we have to say. But obviously, I will keep the replay on here because I'm sure that the lovely Emma Holmes from Rebels and Rockstars, if you don't know her, and I don't know how you don't know her, and you really should know her, will have a lot of very important and interesting things to say because she always does. Now, I've had given you all a little introduction to her before and how she has really, really helped me with my business and growing that and getting me on the right track and stopping me shooting myself in my own foot a lot. And she is very skilled at that. So I want to know if it's magic or whether it's something we can do ourselves, because there is something magic about Emma. She always knows exactly where people are and how to get them unstuck. So how are you today? This is Emma Holmes from Rebels and Rockstars. Everyone say hello. If you are on live, if you could heart things. Angry faces are brilliant, apparently, for Facebook Lives, because then Facebook will show people and people go, oh, what's the beef? And then they want to know. So angry face, all you want. That's absolutely fine. I like a good angry face.
Funny. It's the one that people resist the most. It's the one that people really don't want. We really don't want people putting angry faces onto our lives because that's just mean. But actually, Facebook really like it. People
they like a good gossip.
Yeah,
they know that we like a bit of drama. So yeah, help us out with the drama. I'm going to angry face myself. Can I?
And I can often go off on a rant, so it's always possible that we can be angry about things and rant about.
Oh, that's true.
The industry and the things that go on within the industry and all of that kind of stuff, all the BS that we see out there. So I'm quite partial to a bit rant.
Yes, and you like a bit of non-BS-ness in your own business. I've angry faced ourselves. That's a good start, isn't it?
Always a good start. Always.
Yes. So yes, rants may happen. You are very welcome to join in. I will check it on Facebook to see whether we've got any proper comments instead of Be Live, which just says Facebook commenter, which is annoying. But there we go. So yeah, ask away if you've got any questions as we go through, or if you're on the replay, you can ask as well, and I'm sure we'll both pop in here and answer those. Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, so Emma,
yes,
your first question. No, it's not really a question. I just wanted to say that we go back years, absolutely yonks. In fact, we've been together since before this business.
A decade. We've been doing this.
Oh my God, we've been doing this so long.
We've been working together for a decade, girl.
We have, and we've seen each other grow and do different things and develop. And what I wanted to talk to you a bit about is how you've moved through the various unuses, the various stages of your business, and each one has led to the next stage without you having to go, oh my God, I'm not doing what my heart's telling me to do. I've got to rewrite everything. I've got to throw everything out. It's been a really natural progression of your brand without stopping. This is the end of this business and I have to start a new one. And I think people get stuck in that sort of what do I stand for loop. So how's that been for you as you've moved?
So I think that the thing is that people get really quite tight and really quite wedded to kind of this is the box that I sit in. And this isn't helped by the industry in terms of the fact that we're that massively encouraged to have this really tight niche and that we should have a ideal client avatar and we should know what size pants they wear and we should be very, very specific and very, very, rigid in this thought path. And I'm
And consistent, and don't go anywhere else ever.
Do not stray from your box, right? And this is what a lot of people do teach. And I've never ever been able to get on board with that at all. And I've never been able to get on board with rigidity or specificity. And I always teach about commonality. You know, what is it that your crowd have in common? Because every single person who works with me is unique and beautiful and bespoke and different. And each of them have different loves, different, things that they have on their sight line, different wishes, hopes, dreams, aspirations, different interests away from the work that they do, different skill sets. So why should I get into this real rigidity of specificity that then doesn't encompass the people that I adore working with? Because I know that you all have things in common, but it's not in terms of being absolutely specific in this is who you are. And I think that niche, ideal client avatar, that kind of thing really puts you into a very rigid way of thinking in terms of who your audience are and who you are within your business, because you've got to be in this rigidity of circumstance and situation and things. Whereas actually nothing really does have sides to it. So a lot of the business work that I did in the early days was around launching, but actually launching doesn't exist without all of the other business bits. You can't just talk about sales and launching if people don't understand writing good copy, if people don't understand social media and how to engage with their audience, and if people don't understand who their audience are and what their needs are and what their commonality is. So even when you have this kind of specialist subject, the rigidity doesn't work because there is so much surrounds and holds up that one subject that actually it isn't just the thing. The thing isn't the thing. It's all these other things as well. You know, the thing isn't just for you. It isn't just I can build you a website. It's all of these other things around it that support what that website actually does in terms of functionality, what it portrays in terms of look, feel, etc., how it works in terms of customer journey. You know, it's not just the website.
Yeah, and that's what I teach in my process is you've got all these different routes in and all these different routes out of the website. When I'm speaking with my one-to-one clients, we're very rarely just talking about the website. That's a tiny bit of it, really, because we're talking about how it works with their mailing list and how it works with their social media and how they can get people from all these various places and then convert them. So it doesn't sit on its own either. And I think, yeah, with the ideal customer type of labels, you just get so stuck on that you almost can't move with anything else.
Yeah, it paralyzes people, and I'm not a fan of it at all, as you well know. But also, when I look at how I am working with any individual, I'm looking at that individual. I'm looking at the person, I'm looking at their audience, and I'm looking at their business. And it's matching the three things together to create the best possible strategy, essentially. And, I often see people trying to wedge their businesses into strategies that don't work for that type of business or that won't work for that type of crowd.
Because I think part of that problem actually is that there's so many people out there selling the best strategy, or this is the only strategy you need, or this is, if you don't have this, you won't be successful. And so people are chasing the best, the one thing, and it often doesn't fit at all. I've come across so many people who've invested thousands into a strategy that might work for some people, but really doesn't work for them. And then you get all the guilt. It's like, what have I done that I can't make this work? What's wrong with me?
Yeah, it just doesn't. Like there's not just one wedding outfit, right? we will all suit different wedding outfits. We all suit different strategies. We all suit different ways of doing things. And, you know, what I will suggest to you in your business is very different to what I'll suggest to somebody else over here, because your strengths are different to their strengths, and your ways of, you know, working are different to their ways of working. And I have, you know, I'm very much looking at who that person is and what their strengths are and where they can best channel their energies to get the best results. But let's go back to the question in terms of being allowed to evolve. And that's the thing. I have allowed myself to evolve. I've allowed myself to be very much a student of what I'm doing, and being very, you know, I'm very inquisitive. I'm very much, you know, what does this mean? And look at that. And can we take something from there? And can we, you know, my mind very much works in that way. And I can walk around town and be able to see different bits of advertising and different bits of things. And it starts to create different outcomes, and, you know, and allowing myself to be inquisitive, and allowing myself to evolve, and allowing myself to try things, and allowing myself to work with a wide variety of people. That if we labeled these people, I work generally with creative entrepreneurs. They wouldn't necessarily label themselves creative entrepreneurs, because they would go, I'm not artistic, and I'm not this.
Yeah.
They've got creative brains, essentially, and they work with both left and right brain, all of them, in different amounts.
That's the problem with the labels. I've never liked the term entrepreneurs, really.
No.
So I'm like between business owners or entrepreneurs, and I'm like,
it's much better.
You have to label everything.
Much better than a fempreneur.
Oh yeah, or a mumpreneur.
Fempreneurs are just sanitary products in disguise.
Oh, now I can't even look at Instagram because that's all over the place.
Yeah, fempreneur doesn't work.
Girl boss. Oh,
yeah. It's allowing the evolution, and it's allowing myself to be inquisitive, and it's allowing myself to not sit in a box, have continued to evolve and change. And I'm not going to sit with a brand that I'm bored with. I'm not going to sit with my hair is she, or fucking hell.
Oh, I've never heard of that one. Oh God.
Oh, she, disgusting. Jesus Christ. But yeah, you know, I'm not going to sit with a look and feel when I'm bored of that look and feel. I want it to be exciting. I want it to be engaging. I want to be part of the dialogue of what I'm doing. I'm not afraid to evolve and change and move and continue to shift. I'm not afraid to pull on threads and see where they go, because it doesn't mean, you know, because you pull on a thread, it doesn't mean that you have to unravel the whole jumper, but that thread could help and support you to continue to move forwards. And yeah, I think it's very much about, don't get sort of stuck in your box and in your laurels, and this is, you know, this is the specificity of it. Allow that widening and allow that ability to see all that is, because that will allow you to create what you enjoy and can engage in, and can, you know, and if you're having fun and engaged in your work, that's palpable. If you're bored of your work and it's like, oh God, here we go, it's like same old, nah. Then
I hate elevator pitches. And it's like you get told to structure this really rigid thing, and it shouldn't change ever. And I actually feel bored just thinking about doing that. And I'd rather have a discussion with a person. So if they ask, what do you do? Then sort of engage them, rather than like, I do da 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 for da 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 da. And it's always that sort of, yeah, you can put yourself in a box and then you can't move anywhere. And then you can feel like a success or a failure. Have I failed at this particular thing? And then we get stuck again.
Yeah, I think growth and evolution, and you know, feeling out the sides and being able to see, you know, whether that direction is something that is really of interest, and being, you know, like being an adventurer within your business is massively important to see. you know, where do the, you know, the expansions become me? Because if we just did what we always did, then one, the world doesn't work like that anymore, right? Because what we did,
So fast.
you know, what we did in our last launch won't necessarily work in this launch, because the algorithms change, because what people are looking for changes, what, you know, is given priority in news feeds changes. You know, yes, there's the basic principles: don't go out of fashion, you know, build your list, create great content, you know, engage with your audience. All of that stuff, right, does not ebb and flow and change. But the way that we deliver that has to continue to ebb and flow and change, and be really present and kind of be on the pulse of things, because that is where we create that movement. And I see people selling the same stuff that they were selling years and years and years ago. Doesn't fucking work. Doesn't work, because you're not looking at this from the whole perspective of how that then creates the catalyst to the client. And you know, you can write all of the best blogs in the whole wide world, but if you're not looking at the distribution strategy for those, if you're not looking at how you're going to engage your crowd around those, if you're not looking at so what and what next with each article that you're writing, then you're wasting your time. And
I think people don't see businesses, they see them as the kind of more old-fashioned, we've created a business and it is this and it'll always be this. It's so fast-paced these days that
and it doesn't matter.
you have to evolve with your audience and with the platforms, and just find that exciting. And I think a lot of people get scared by, oh, now I've got to learn this, so this best one, and now this isn't, and it just kind of gets overwhelming, rather than doing it in the very natural, progressive way, which you teach and which you show yourself that that's what you're doing.
Yeah, and I think, you know, when you look at, right, these are the things that aren't going to go out of fashion. That, you know, these are the, I always talk about it, it's like the mannequin, right? So the mannequin is the stuff that you're going to have to do and you're going to have to think about. And it's how we dress that mannequin gets the attention. You know, the mannequin is just a mannequin if you walk past it and it's naked, and you've got to then dress that mannequin so that it catches the attention of the public. You know, you don't want just people going, it's a naked mannequin. You know, you want it to be looking amazing, and you want your...
That's the wrong sort of attraction. You don't want that.
That's naked attraction, and nobody want to watch that program. Gogglebox gives me too much of that program to start with, and it does make... That's my face. Particularly when my 15-year-old son is watching Gogglebox with us. No, thank you. Can we fast forward this bit?
Oh God, teenagers.
But yeah, I think when we look at then the dressing of the mannequin and how we, you know, and it's style, it's the same as the fashion industry. It's the same as every industry. You know, it changes, it evolves, it grows, it goes back. It changes, it evolves, it grows, it goes back. And you know, we'll see things that, you know, that come back around it. You know, my dad's in his 70s now, and he talks about the fact that he's holding onto that shirt because it will come back into fashion. And you know, it's cyclic in terms of how it works, but it's also very much progressive in terms of actually how are we going to deliver this stuff, and how are we going to capture and engage our audience. And what happens, you know, what certainly happened over the last decade is that the amount available for consumption has gone up, and people's attention spans have gone down. And you know, there's so much stuff out there in the world, and you've got to always think about, you know, what makes my stuff the stuff that people should be getting involved in, reading, getting, you know, becoming part of, and what makes my stuff different in the marketplace. Because
yes, you did a course recently, didn't you, all about visibility and being
really
out there and really punchy in who you are, and not like blending into the landscape.
Yeah, and again, we're taught to be quite vanilla. That goes back to the things like the elevator pitch, goes back to, you know, be in your box. But actually, if you don't stand for anything, how can anybody get behind you? If you don't actually go out there and have a real sort of opinions, and I'm not talking about going and talking about politics and religion, because I'm not going anywhere near that shit, but it's all right to be able to go, I don't agree with the way this is done. And actually, I feel that the best way, because there's so many people sat there going, thank God you said that. Like the amount of people that'll watch my video about the commonality, the boobs of business, which is my
I love that.
my version of working out who your crowd are and looking at commonality of your audience. And they go, I am so pleased that I don't need to worry about ideal client avatar anymore, because that has got me so stuck for so many years. And I've done courses and then not got past the first module because this bit just does not, I can't get to the bottom of it. And is that because I'm indecisive? Is that because I'm rubbish? Why can't I commit to a one person who looks like this and sounds like this and reads this magazine and goes here on holiday, shops at this supermarket? And
it's all guesswork, though, really, isn't it?
Oh, bullshit!
It is. Do they shop at Marx's or do they shop at Matalan? Let's find out.
Well, right. Some of you will go to Aldi and Lidl, and some of you will go to fucking Waitrose, right? Yeah. And there'll be everything in between, and the people that both go to Aldi and Lidl and Waitrose, because that's what life is like. And you know,
no, stay in your box.
Yeah, and lots of my crowd will tart about their supermarkets.
How dare they?
Lots of my crowd will enjoy watching certain things on TV and not others. And that's fine.
But you can also have that discussion, not particularly about Netflix, although that's always welcome. That discussion between those different viewpoints, because we're all creating a bit of community out there and a bit of an audience. You don't want the same person lined up, and they're not going to be the same tomorrow anyway. So even if your ideal customer works here, they're going to be a different person here.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I just don't think that we need to have such rigidity. So I've evolved, if we go back to question 1 that we've been chatting about for ages, because we know that this is what happens.
Well, there aren't question marks, it's really talking points. So I suppose we've actually gone through a few.
But we do meander off.
We evolved through. That's what happens.
I'm very good at taking it on a tangent.
Yeah. So you don't call yourself a coach, do you? I think still. Yeah.
Well, equally, you know, I think again, it's about the wrap of it all, isn't it? And you know, I think that, do I coach you or do I support you? Do I help you? Do I mentor you? Do I teach you? Do I need a fucking label on anything? Actually, you know, my role is to show you the possibility and potential that you can't see because you're too close. So I am very able to see the totality of a business very quickly and to see where.
And that's the magic, really, isn't it? Yeah. Because you like come in with, it seems like anybody into your network, and you seem to know exactly, actually, this is where you are stuck and you're not being you. This is where you're going. And you really help people see what they should be doing to move from boob A to boob B.
You know, I can talk to somebody for 10 minutes and then go and look at their social media and go, I don't even fucking recognise that person over there. It's not the person that I've spoken to for the last 10 minutes. And, you know, they are more vivacious. They are more feisty. They have got more this, that and the other. Or they are much more calming and they are much more. And I'm not about, you know, making you be anything you're not. I'm looking at shining you as you are and being able to go, right, okay, here's the gaps right now in where you are. And I can, I've started working with a new client recently, and there's £750 a month sat on the table that she hasn't collected. And that's the first point of call. Let's collect that £750 a month off your table. And then we'll work on the next thing. And then we'll work on the next thing. And then we'll work on the next thing. Because I can just see where those gaps are and where those, where you're stifling that business growth through, implementation of strategies that you've believed have been the one, and actually looked at it more expansively and looked at that overall look, feel, opportunity, and, like I say, again, matching that to the person, to the personality, to the audience, and to the vibe of the business. Because, you can't do this really masculine, businessy AF strategy on something that causes abrasion with. And I see people trying to implement that kind of strategy in maybe a B2C environment where it frightens the fuck out of the audience because it's very pushy and it's very umphy and it's very, like the big yellow kind of call to action button with the big padlock on it from the olden days, and the layout of the page that's very aggressive and
or sales calls where you have to, and you keep repeating yourself. So where are you now in the buying cycle? I've been on those calls. I'm like, just like I don't buy anything at the door, I don't buy anything on the phone.
Yeah. And stop trying to push me down and tell me that I'm going to be a big fail if I don't do this thing. And, as many of my, I don't do sales calls, but I'm happy to get on the phone and chat to people. More than happy to do that. But, it is about, right, okay, so what's the prescription for your business? This is what I would suggest. And sometimes it's go away and do this, 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 and this. Because right now, you don't need to be paying me any money. You need to be doing these things. So go away and do those things. Then we'll go to the next stage. And that's not because, I am ridiculous and throwing clients away. No, because that's what's in that person's best interests at that moment in time. And
because we put so many silly little obstacles in the way that we don't see. And you're like, just move that, would you, first? Because I've had that problem and put a lot of obstacles in my own way. But working with you seemed very, very personal to me in a way that nothing else is out there, because everything else is, they go, oh, it's not cookie cutter, but it's like, it's still one strategy. It's still one way of doing things, which is their way, which is not necessarily your way. Whereas it's really evident when, especially in your Supernova growth capsule, which is great, anybody on it, where we have a Monday get together and a Monday, what the hell are you doing this week session? And everybody is different, and everybody, your way of approaching them is always different and very unique to where they are now and where they want to go. And they are, on the surface of it, really different businesses. But we have the commonality of we all put the same bloody obstacles in our way, and we all need that support and help. And
you all respond differently in different circumstances. So sometimes it's, right, okay, actually you need to back off right now because you're not in a place to do this. And I know you don't want to hear it. I know that you're going to, kick and scream about it, but actually you need a fucking week off. And then for some people, it'll be like, why are we still talking about this? We're now 3 weeks down the line with the same dialogue. We need to sort this out and we need to get beyond where we are. So, there'll be sometimes that tough love happens in many different ways. And there'll be sometimes where it's coaxing and encouraging and bringing out because they've got themselves in such a bloody knot that I just need to pull
A
it.
little bit there.
Yeah, I'm just gonna unpick it. I'm just gonna unpick it. And then, you know, it's about matching my input to the person, because people will respond differently to different things. And sometimes I'll fucking piss you off because I'll say something you don't want to hear. But equally, I'll say,
what are you doing here? You're ill. Go to bed.
I'll say it with the biggest love in the world, because it's about what's best for the person that's in front of me.
And there's nothing worse than going away from like a coaching session or a support, whatever, with a whole list of things, and some of them you know you're not going to do, or are really effing scary, that you're never going to approach, and so you're just going to like get overwhelmed by the thing. Whereas a lot of, well, particularly with me and with some other people, is you knock off you don't need that in the way right now. You need to focus on just action over here. And it can really help us just cut out the crap so that we're focusing on actually doing the right things.
You know, from a week to week basis on the supernova calls, it's about looking at, right, where are you right now, and what's the action that's going to move the needle? You know, what is it that we're going to be able to implement to get an outcome, to be able to move forward, to be ready for the next step? And I'll often say to people, look, let's talk about that next week. Let's just not think about that right now. It's on the list. You know, you don't need to worry that you're going to forget it. The sky's not going to fall in. Let's just move that over there, and we'll come back to that later, because that right now won't work without these things. So let's do these things first. Let's look at this area first. Then we can move into here. And you've had it before where I've said to you, right, no progress work in terms of business progression this week. Just deal with the stuff that has to be done, as in client work, right? That's, you know, if that's your minimum level to meet the obligations that you've got right now, that's the place that you're in. Progression work, it's not going to go off. It's not milk. It's not going to start to smell. We can come back to that next week.
Oh, yeah.
Keep that.
Yeah, but I mean, we're surrounded by, on all the socials, by all this hustle culture and this work harder, do more. You've got to be everywhere. I did a challenge about challenges once, and the guy, I was a bit like, I don't know, I'll just see. It was free anyway. And on one call, he said, well, really, if you want to be successful, you've got to be in Facebook groups, you know, hustling and doing a thing 5 hours a day. I'm like, what? And then, of course, you're like, oh, gosh, I'm not a proper business owner and this sort of thing. And I'm like, I just turned it off then. I was like, absolutely, that's BS. That's not a thing, and also not possible for a great many of us. I mean, it made me laugh because, of course, I've got kids and I've got all this other stuff going on. So a lot of us do. And he'd bring his child in to wave hello and say something clever. And then his wife would take her off and do the bedtime. And he'd like report back, oh, yes, she's in bed. And I'm like, but that's not you. Whereas that's not reality for an awful lot of us. I'd be off, right, bedtime now, I've got to do the dinner. You know? And I'm like, it just doesn't fit. And it's so nice to have that, actually take that pressure off, focus on what I need to do rather than what sod over there saying I should be doing all of the time.
The reality is that in an hour, with focused action, you can make the biggest amounts of progress. It doesn't take hours and hours and hours and hours. And, you know, I don't have time, you know. And I'll say to people sometimes, you know, you can, an example was this week. I said to somebody, you could do your social media post by lunchtime really easily. We were talking 5 posts, you know, here's some ideas. Share this, share that, share this, share that. And, you know, people will go, but that'll take me ages, and I'll rewrite it, and I'll look at it again, and I'll rewrite it, and I haven't got time for that. And yeah, do you know what? Everything could be edited and edited and edited and edited again and edited better and edited another time and edited another time. But actually, sometimes done is enough. And, you know, good enough is good enough. And getting something out there is better than not getting something out there. And sometimes you've just got to take the action, and then you can perfect. Well, perfect doesn't exist, but you can then continue to develop and evolve and grow the way that you do things as you move. You know, if we all sat there in the solidity of, you know, we have to have this right before it's done and it's out there, then there'd never be any scope for growth. You know, you would still be doing, you know, the work that you were doing 7-8 years ago in the style. Like, your style's changed massively in 7-8 years.
Well, my business has, because I started off very much in the design sphere. That sounds businessy, doesn't it? Sphere. And have moved very much more into the business and the strategy side of things, and I've really evolved it. And
even if we went,
why my brand needs to follow.
Yeah, and even if we just went to your design style.
Oh yeah, from where it was.
The design style that you had 7-8 years ago isn't the design style that you have now. And actually, if you looked at some of the designs that you did 7-8 years ago, you'd probably cringe. I look at, you know,
I do. Don't look at it.
Yeah, some of the imagery that I put out there 7-8 years ago. And, you know, we only can do better by doing and learning and evolving and growing and, again, being inquisitive. You know, I've just started to look at changing my fonts and my colours slightly and moving things again because, you know.
But you're playing with it, aren't you? Whereas a lot of people are like, I've got to do a rebrand.
No,
whereas you're like, I'll just try some of this. And it's not a million miles away. It's still very you-y.
And that, you know, that was the first thing you said when I sent like a suite of some memes over to you and went, what do you think? And yeah, it's still very you. And actually, play with it. You don't need to do everything. Like, I will ultimately probably do a new Facebook header. I will probably ultimately change the fonts on my website. I will probably change my website completely because I get really bored. And it's been on the list for ages. And it's one of them things that I know that other bits need to drop in to be able to make the decisions that I need to make. So sometimes it's not about forcing one area because other things need to develop and evolve and grow and work. And then suddenly that bit makes sense. And it's like, this is what I need to do on there. I need it to look like this. And the main focus is this. And I need to get people onto this. And this is really easy. And I've really stripped back. You know, one of the things from this year has been I've looked to really strip back. Right, my free stuff is all in the vault. Go and get stuff out of the vault. It's absolutely jam-packed full of free stuff. There's trainings, there's pro formas, there's ebooks, there's everything
in there.
Go get what you need in there. If you want to work with me, it's one-to-one or it's Supernova, because I'm much better channeling all of my business stuff into that one place than continuing to get you all to buy course after course after course after course after course.
But Supernova works as in, what do they need? They need that. I'll provide that. So why would you ever need to produce lots of different things and split yourself? Because Supernova's changing pretty much constantly depending on what people need.
Yeah, and that, you know, that's the thing.
And that's unique, isn't it? That's unique in all it's not a set thing.
And, you know, there's lots of set things in there.
In it,
I can then go, right, Kat, this is the thing that you need to be looking at right now. And it might not be the same thing as Lisa needs to be looking at, or Sarah needs to be looking at, or Rachel needs to be looking at, because they need different things. Whereas if I'm putting you all into the, you know, you must buy this course, this is the one thing that you need, this is the business, then that's not meeting the need of the individual. And I'm very much about whether you're working with me in the group environment or whether you're working with me one-to-one, I'm working with you as an individual. I'm working with you as a person, because you as a person and the energy that you are bringing as a person and your strengths and your key skills and you are what are important to cascade from everything to create that oomph.
So where do you find people are most getting themselves or thinking they are stuck? So when they come to you with the, oh, I'm so stuck, it's not growing, I don't know what to do. Is there something that is the most common, it's that again. It's that old chestnut.
Most of it's mindset.
Yeah.
Most of it is they are either stuck in a rigidity, they are scared of their business. They wouldn't ever label it as that, but they have created, you know, they've been sold the dream that we, you know, build it and they will come. And, you know, they haven't looked at what it takes to actually do the thing. And suddenly the thing isn't the thing. And it's about then really looking at picking apart where they've created the stall and the abrasion. And it's very often in rigidity and linearness. And then looking at allowing and giving them the confidence to expand and to create that adventure and you know, a lot of the time I'll just be going, look over here. How did I not see that? Which is too close. And you know, the biggest thing generally is just being able to look at something and just show the areas where they've created the abrasion, because the stuff is simply them buffering up against something. And often I can just go, I'll just move that.
Yeah. But that's a different sort of mindset thing, because mindset is like thrown around so many different ways. And it's almost the kind of, it's been weaponized as like, oh, you've got the wrong mindset, so therefore you can't, or you've got to change everything that before you can. Whereas it's more of an active action taking process of, well, let's just move the obstacle.
Yeah, mindset's bullshit. So, you know, the personal development world are generally invested in you staying stuck because they want you to buy the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. So mindset is generally taught in a way that will continue to move you forwards a little bit, but it will continue to keep you stuck because they want you to buy the next thing.
I think people get addicted to it, don't they? They get addicted to, oh, I've got to get to the next mindset point, or, you know, I'm a failure if I haven't done, you know, I don't think this way, or I'm not positive all the time. And
I've got a block.
yes,
so we're negating responsibility for the thing that actually just needs you to take action on it. You know, and why are you even the one line of why are you even thinking about that? Or why are you even giving that any airtime? And people go, I don't know. Then shall we just not? And I go, okay. We'll just get on with it. And you know, a lot of it is about conditioning. A lot of it is about what we are subjected to in terms of the dialogue out there in the industry of personal development as well as in business, and that sort of then of, well, then I'm not good enough. I'm not going to be able to do that. I am not able.
I've seen it used against people even on courses, particularly if they're very salesy, where, oh, well, you know, none of the tactics are working for me. This one way isn't working, and they'll come back, not for me personally, for clients. They'll come back to you and they'll say, well, you've got the wrong mindset.
Fuck off.
We're on a rant.
There's the door. Fuck off. fuck off, fuck all the way off. You know, if people have implemented what you've told them to implement in the way that you've told them to implement it, it is not their mindset. All right, that is just not.
No, but they're attracting the wrong energy on purpose because it's all in. Yeah, I think people get ever more into that quagmire of it's all my fault. I'm not this, I'm not that. When actually, what you teach is quite simple. It's just do the thing.
Yeah, you might not be this and that. You might not be. You know, your skill set very much is in video, and other people's skill set is in writing. And actually,
I still get a bit of, oh my God, I'm so guilty because I can't write for toffee and I hate writing. I still get stuck in that. Oh, come on.
You know, when we look at where do we channel the energy, you make the most amazing, engaging videos, and other people write the most amazing, engaging words. So actually, we should be celebrating and continuing to develop and evolve the strengths. And I was talking about this in terms of something else recently: strengths and weaknesses. So everybody says work on your weaknesses, but don't work on your weaknesses at the expense of your strengths. We're always much better to continue to develop and evolve our strengths than to bring our weaknesses up, but that bring our strengths down.
It's almost like people are trying to be somebody else.
Because that's what's sold to them. You need to have this one thing. You need to be down this one avenue. You need to be doing this one way. I am a success, so therefore you need to be like me. You don't fucking want to be like me. You know, I absolutely, completely will tell people you don't want to be inside my head. It's crazy in there. You want to be the biggest, shiningest, lightest you, an adventure down your avenue and your path and your way. And we fit the strategy and the tactics to that rather than...
Yeah, so my strategy, as you say, is video top. And I've actually stopped writing a lot of bump, and I've got a VA who takes my content, my video, and will create out of that with the whole written wordy thing. That's written words, international sign for. And it has saved me so much time and overwhelm and beating myself up because I hate writing social media posts.
Yeah,
because I do. I really do.
And we sat there, didn't we? And we went, well, what's the answer?
Yeah.
What's the answer? You know, you're creating really great video content. So the answer is, can we get somebody to take that and make it into these things? And that then took away a whole load of hassle from you, and it took away a whole load of hassle from me because she wasn't thinking about writing content.
That's very true. Help, I can't do it again. Don't bloody do a video. So what's your process? Where's your genius zone? I know you have a few, but how do you, because you seem to be everywhere, you've got so much content going out and so much to say as well.
I've got a lot to say, yeah.
You've got a lot.
I've been doing it a long time, so I've got a lot of assets.
You've got a lot to say. But how do you make sure that you've got all your bases covered whilst not like having to do all the things all of the time?
So I'm now in a position where, like I said, I've got a lot of assets in my business in terms of content that I've created over the years. And I one of my easeful areas is content creation. I can create content really, really easily. So whilst my social media, looks like the ravenous beast, and it has 5 posts a day go out on it, and 1 post goes out a day on Instagram, it takes me 25 minutes a week. That's all. So actually having those assets there allows me really just to channel what I need to be talking about, what I need to be doing, and my time is then spent on specificity in terms of supernova stuff, in terms of one-to-one clients and newsletters and things like that, is where I'm then creating new stuff and then using that again as an asset to cascade into other things, because that's where I've created new
And
things.
it's much more strategic led rather than, oh, I've just got to post a thing.
Yeah.
And that sort of stuckness we get, it's like you're taking the high level down view, 40,000 foot view down and seeing, well, this is where I'm going. So I need this sort of content over here, and then pulling in all your bits and pieces.
Yeah. And I'll quite
to just
go right across the top of the day. I'm going to have something pop into your newsfeed that's motivation, inspiration. Let's start the day off on a good vibe. That takes care of that whole first post of the day. Right. So throughout the week, I want to be looking at driving traffic to my website. I want to be looking at what articles have I got that are really, the stuff that people need over and over again. What do I see people clicking on over and over again? What freebies have I got? How can I put the light of day on everything that moves people from social to my website? This is something that lots of people resist because they go, oh, but if I put a link on there, Facebook doesn't show it to anyone. Not true, right? Think about the way that you share your link rather than resisting putting the link in. And then I'll put my list building post in and the posts that actually take people to articles that help them with a specificity. I put my sales posts in there, and on an evening, you'll only ever find me doing things like shits and giggles and fun stuff and
gif off. I love a good gif off.
Nice gif off. Because I want to be part of people's worlds in terms of it doesn't all have to be dead serious, and it doesn't all have to be, I don't have to be pushing you all into, thinking about work all the time. Actually, on a night, I don't want none of you thinking about work. So I just want to give you a way to connect with me, with each other, with a bit of fun, with a smile on your face. And, that's how I'm spending my sort of creation time there in social media. And then I'm developing and growing my new stuff through blogging and through newsletters and through places like the Vault and Nova.
So I wanted to talk to you about, you're kind of going back to your website and really looking at how that sits within your marketing ecosystem at the moment. So what has made you not move your marketing? Because you've always had your website, you've always involved it in your huge web, but you've really started to refocus on it and sort of power it up a little bit. So what was your thinking about that with where you're going?
There's 400 fucking articles on there that are really it was a wasted asset. It was about looking at where are my assets right now and what assets aren't helping as many people as they could be helping. And there's stacks on there. Like, absolute, you could go and spend weeks on there getting so much good stuff, like so many things that you can just go and implement, so many things that you can go and do, so many ways of looking at things differently, that it was just that sort of recognition and realization that there's stacks out there that should be helping more people, and it's my responsibility to shine the light on that, to show the people that it's there for them to be able to go and get the things. Because
I mean, these are assets that you've had for built on for years and years that have got so much good stuff in there that they're just not doing anything. And that's why I love websites and YouTube's, which is of course my new thing, because it's continuous, evergreen, will always help me and build my business. In fact, it sort of gains momentum as it goes along. And I love that sort of content because I'm a lazy soul. Because it's always working for you. But if it's not working, then
it's disposable. If we look at social media content is effectively disposable. Its sort of lifeline is already diminishing when you've pressed publish. And we can bag that stuff and use it again, so it can be an asset in our business, but it's not a gift that keeps on giving. When we're creating stuff, we want that to have longevity. We want it to be gifts that keep on giving. Because if I'm going to spend my time, effort, energy, and attention on something that is really impactful, I don't want it just to disappear. Because with the best will in the world, even if 50% of my audience saw that post on that day at that time, there's still 50% that didn't. There's still people that haven't come to my audience yet. There's still people that haven't found out about me yet. And that could be the thing that, changes somebody's whole trajectory. And to create it in a disposable fashion just seems so frivolous.
I really don't like fast content. I think that's why Twitter gives me the heebie-jeebies, because it's like, oh my god, I've got to catch on. And it's all like, whoa. And it's almost, even if you catch on to something and you like something, it's gone again. So you can't really internalize it and use it. So I like the slower, the more meaty, I can actually do something with it stuff that I can engage with, and encourage my audience to engage with and move through a journey, rather than that kind of flashing up at you.
There's place for everything, but I am one of many in your newsfeed on a day-to-day basis. Like, nobody is looking generally at my page as a full page and going through the posts one by one by one by one. I'm falling into your newsfeed.
You mean you don't have a pretty newsfeed on your page that you like do all the lovely photos?
It's too shabby, but not where I'm placing my attention. But my post will be followed by your post, will be followed by someone else's post, will be followed by someone else's post, and people are just doing this and moving on through, and that's fine. But if I can bring you over to read something that's important to you, that you can read and comment on without it necessarily being everybody's watching you, right? The stuff that gets the big clicks are stuff that people wouldn't want to say, I'm struggling with that in public, right? Things like how to not to appear desperate when you totally are. Things like that. They're the things that get the big clicks, because they're the things that people are struggling with. And they don't want to come and do a public declaration of, yes, I'm struggling with that. They want to kind of nip off into the back room and have a look and get the advice and help that they need so that they can move beyond that. That's okay. And then they might want to come into Supernova and get into an environment where everybody gets it, and you're not, nobody's going to be going, I can't believe you don't know that.
And it's almost getting them to make that first decision to properly engage, like to choose you above other content. So you're gathering your audience over on your socials, and that's all very well and good, and then they'll find something and just go in, I'll just go and investigate. And at that point, they've actually moved onto listening to you more than they would have over here. And I think people are just trying to get all the numbers over here, and they're not converting them over to something that's a little more meaty and a little bit more engaging, and really making that decision to follow that journey with you.
I don't want to help someone on a surface level. That's not my driver. My driver is to help people really create that profound change that changes how they approach things. It changes how they feel about themselves. It changes the type of business owner that they are in their confidence, which therefore changes the way that they live their lives. It impacts their families, and everything changes, and everything's more positive. Now, I'm not going to go over here and spend an awful lot of time on surface level, their kind of content. I want to spend my time on the stuff that creates big impact. And like you said, when you take that click and you come over to that website, I've got your attention then. That's not egotistical. I'm not looking for your attention, but I can help you more when you've moved away from the noise. And that is where we can then look at, right, so if you've moved away from the noise, you've made that commitment to making a change, you've made that commitment to going a little bit deeper. You're not just looking at quick fix, surface level. Scroll, 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 scroll. Help me, panic, panic.
Like angry face.
Yeah, you're actually then creating something that has got a bigger impact, and that you're then able to create more. You're able to move people further when you've got their attention.
Yeah. Right, important question.
Bum, bum, bum.
What is your favourite biscuit?
My favourite biscuit. Oh, this is a biggie. This feels massive. So I like oat-based biscuits.
Ooh.
So
Hobnob.
Yeah, maybe a hobnob or an oat and raisin cookie kind of affair.
Ooh, nice.
You know, something that got a little bit of chew in there. And I'm a porridge girl, so I quite like anything that's got a bit of roughage in it, I suppose. If we're going
the healthy, you can pretend it's a healthy biscuit.
If we're going cake, then I quite like blondies. Raspberry blondies are very nice. Anything that's a bit kind of Bakewell tartish with a little bit of almond and cherries.
Very good. Well, I'm on the ginger nut side, which I don't think would be anyone's surprise. What does that say about me?
No comment.
Who knows? Second important question. And no rude answers, please. Although you can say pass if it's going to be. What can you be found doing at 8 p.m. on an evening?
I'm jammers. I'm probably bath and jammers around there. Once everyone's been fed and getting me comfies. Yeah.
Because we don't often see that side, do we? And it's not often said with all the got to be busy. I'm working all night. I'm making deals into the night.
I'm either in pajamas. On a Wednesday, I sometimes work at 8 p.m. So on a Wednesday at 8 p.m, I sometimes work because I don't work.
Because you have the day running, don't you? That's your running day.
Yeah. So I have the daytime off on a Wednesday. So on a Wednesday, sometimes you'll find me working at 8 p.m. I'll either be in my pajamas or I will be mum's taxi at around that time.
Oh no! Luckily, no. The latest I go picky uppy is 7:30. So, but then I tell
don't be so mean. Don't be so mean. Holidays. 7:30 is far too early in the school holidays.
We've only got one downstairs room, so the kids have to go to bed at 8 so that we can have a life. But yes, I don't work after 7, and I'm trying to be stricter and make it a 6 so that my business works around me.
Yeah.
Because as you know, prone to burnout, Mrs. over here. Have to be very careful.
There is only one day a week that you'll ever find me working on an evening, and that's because I've worked all day.
And what is the next big goal or dream? What would be on your vision board if you did vision boards? Well, I don't know, maybe you do.
No,
for Emma Holmes.
Who knows? Who knows? We don't put in boundaries. We don't put in specificity. We develop, we grow, we evolve. We see where we go. We see what happens. We adventure.
So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's all in the adventure. It's all in what little avenue or direction I decide.
You mean you haven't set out what your 10-year strategy is?
No. Surprising. Because that's a fucking waste of time.
10 years, gosh. Can't even imagine 10 years out.
So in terms of work, I know what I am working on between now and the end of the year. It'll all be based in Supernova and one-to-one work. There'll be an intake probably of Kickstarter at some point in the health and wellness stuff, but majority of it will be Supernova and one-to-one. The price will be going up on Supernova because it's too cheap.
It's super Supernova.
Supernova. We've just opened the new members area and got all the singing, all dancing bits done. I've gone on holiday.
Do you want to pop a link into that?
Yeah, put the link in.
Because that's super.
I'm going on holiday before the end of summer. I'm running a marathon in October, and that's all that's got specificity right now.
Yeah. So allowing for some magic to happen.
Always.
Along the way.
Always.
I think that's why you keep it light and fun.
Yeah. I think we can get honed in, and I'll always talk to clients and people about having, desired outcomes for things that you're working on. And we talk about A goals, B goals, C goals for stuff that we're working on at that time. But then I'll always encourage a period of reflection after that to go, now what? Now what direction do I want to go in? What do I really fancy getting my teeth into? Because if we're just going to roll same shit, sometimes that gets boring. And boring for you, gets boring for your audience, gets boring across the board, and then it doesn't make any impact.
No, we don't do boring.
And then you get back into that cycle of, well, I'm shit, and therefore these are the things that have gone wrong, and these are the things that I'm not any good at this, and
pushing something heavy up a hill.
Yeah. Whereas, you're much better off going, actually, what would be really exciting to work on right now? And what will that move in terms of, what am I looking to do? Right now, am I looking to get in front of more people? Right now, am I looking to build my list? Right now, am I looking to make some money? What's my priority? That's a good word.
Oh, that's a good word.
Hierarchy of priority.
Who writes it down first?
Hierarchy. What's
hierarchy?
My hierarchy right now? A hierarchy of priority. I like that.
Oh, I love that. So if you had to choose one thing, maybe three things, biggest takeaway, if people have been listening today, what's the biggest takeaway they can get from you?
Stop trying to put yourself in a box, because boxes
are for cats.
I don't even think cats like being in boxes. I think they're quite happy to be exploring through a box, but they don't want to sit in a box.
Or claiming a box when it's not their box.
And think about how strategy meets your audience, meets your business, because that's the most important.
There's no point in building a business that you don't like and doesn't work for you.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And the amount of times that I've said to people over the last few weeks, did you start a business to give yourself a whole load of shit? Did you start a business to be stuck inside all day in the summer? Did you start a business to just give yourself a hard time on a day-to-day basis? No, you fucking didn't, right? So let's get back to why you started the business, and let's start looking at what the priorities are in creating the lifestyle that you want with that business. And you'll always have a massive to-do list. You will always have a huge to-do list, because that's the way that businesses are. If you haven't, start to worry, because that's when you're stagnating.
Yeah.
A big to-do list shows potential, possibility, and growth opportunities.
And that's where your priority comes in as well.
Yeah. And
items are not equal.
Yeah. No to-do list. Yeah.
Nothing going on.
Yeah. That's the same as being in a job you hate, says Michelle. Yeah, totally.
Or having a crappy boss.
Yeah, and don't be
a crappy boss.
Do not be the crappy boss. That's the biggie, is, let's look at making sure that we're not creating a circumstance or a situation where...
Well, my lovely boss is letting me go for lunch out today, and then this afternoon, after I've dyed my daughter's hair green, and then sunbathing after that. So I like my boss. Yeah, she's okay.
Yeah, and that's exactly how she should be. It's very important that you
Very important.
have a good boss. That
What's my husband said on here? Ari, Facebook comment earlier. If you're spending 5 hours plus a day, you're working for Facebook, not for yourself. It can feel like that. Yes. Oh, and Instagram does to me.
Yeah.
Answering, posting, spending hours making stories that just go again.
That disappear.
Yes, it's like that was a really good one, and only a few people saw it. Now it's gone.
Yeah.
Until next time. It was absolutely wonderful having you on, as usual. And having
It's
a chat.
lovely. I do love having a good conflab.
Yeah.
I
love interviews because it can go anywhere. I think that's why. There's no slidey thing, and there's all, well, this is the important stuff today.
Yeah. I very, very seldomly teach with slides now, because I know that I so often run off in a different direction.
Yeah.
Holly
says, I never thought about it like that. If you spend so much time creating content for Facebook, you're working for them, not for you. Absolutely.
Yeah. And if it's all
how it all works.
If it's all keeping people on their platform, then you are fulfilling their business needs rather than your own. So that's why you've got to look at what your priorities.
Slave to the algorithm.
Yeah.
What's the algorithm doing today? Or how about what's your business need today?
Yeah. What's the business objective of doing the thing? And being in that place where, I'm creating new content for my list, for my website, and then cascading it out because they are my business assets.
Yeah.
So think about where you're creating assets rather than, essentially creating bishop paper.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, actually, YouTube, speaking of algorithms, has kind of changed the way they work in that, yes, they're still doing all the searchy stuff, but they want more content that your audience already likes. So they actually want to engage the people rather than you're just a slave to the algorithm and I've got to get this many views and this. It's more trying to give them good content in the way that Google does.
Also, remember with YouTube that they're looking to sell advertising. So if people aren't sticking around on your videos, then they've got less of an opportunity to sell their advertising. So you're still working to their business objective. Their business objective is to keep people viewing videos until the end of the video.
Yeah.
Then they can get more.
And then to click on another one.
Yeah.
For binge watching. Yeah.
They want to keep you on platform, but they also want to keep you on platform for the totality of that video to sell that advertising in them spaces. So we're on any platform that doesn't belong to us, we're singing to somebody else. We're working with what is their business objective. Doesn't matter how they dress it up. I think I put about this in my newsletter last week, is that these platforms don't actually care about what you want from them in terms of as a creator. They don't care what the consumer wants of them unless it ties all neatly together to create their business outcome and objective.
Yeah.
That's what they're looking to achieve.
Yeah.
Only reason that Instagram has kind of pretended that they've turned and 360'd on their decision to go more down the video line. Not true. Very, very interestingly worded, because it isn't true, that we've appeased you.
Oh, really? I haven't read up on what's happening on Instagram.
But not the truth. They're actually, still moving forward with the way that they wanted to move forward. They're just doing it in a slightly different way to appease the audience. But it's their business. I think people fall down an awful lot with not recognizing and being
But
present
it's a business.
in that these places are businesses.
And it's the same with marketplaces as well. Like, well, even Canva or even Creative Market or Etsy or all those sorts of selling platforms, and Shopify actually, because they really want people to carry on investing and using their platform. And some of them, the marketplaces, are making decisions that are really affecting their customers, their businesses that sell through them, their profits.
Yeah.
And that they've become something that their
interesting.
audience almost doesn't want them to be. So, I mean, that's proof of.
Yeah. But people are still
Not
putting
doing it.
their stuff up on Etsy and still paying the fees and still paying the marketplace fees because
Yeah.
they feel stuck in that situation.
Where else can I go? This is what you do. This is the only way.
Yeah, and that
They got you.
and then you choose whether or not you're willing to put your pennies into their profits.
Yeah. But it is a choice. I think people don't see it as a choice a lot of times.
Yeah.
Well, they don't even know they're making that choice.
Yeah. How can they do that? Well, it's a business and they're making business decisions. And that's their business decision. And it is what it is.
Vive la revolution!
Yeah.
It developed into a rant. I will let you go.
You've got hair dyeing.
I've got hair dyeing to do before we have to go out for lunch, and it's got to be green apparently.
Always.
Yeah. So hopefully the bathroom won't end up green, but who knows?
It might do.
It might do. It might. So I'm going to leave this up for the replay. So if anyone wants to come back and listen to our rants and get some more clarity on how Emma is just magic, then I will leave this up. And you've got the link for Supernova in there, and that's absolutely fabulous service. So do check that out.
And if anybody wants to ask any questions, then tag us in so that we can get back to you, or pop a DM over. Absolutely happy to respond and reply to anything.
Yeah. And on YouTube. I will send over any comments for people that do that, so I'll keep an eye on that one. Okay.
Lovely.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
I will say goodbye. Well, goodbye to the live people.
Bye-bye.